what's up guys? Team Hard Life Captain Albert Zertucci here. Alright, so for today what we're going to be doing is something that we always see a lot on Facebook of people needing to get done. And that's to change a rod tip. Right there. You can see these guys are pretty jacked up, ceramics broke. This one is really smashed up. But this is actually a very simple fix, and you can actually do this at your house or in the parking lot after you leave Academy or Walmart or wherever you buy the kits from. Here we do it in-house. The guides we actually send out. We've got a few guys that we have contracts with that we send out our work to. But for the tips, we actually can do that in-house. And what I wanted to go and do is show you how I get it done. So now here's the real question. What size tip do you need? Well, that's kind of a simple answer at the same time. And the best thing to do is to pull off your original tip. That way you can see what size you need. A lot of times too, these rod tips have been replaced, and sometimes the wrong one will be on there. But the best thing to do is get your tip off and actually take your rod or the rod tip of the rod that you have, because some are two-piece. And that's the best way, is to measure it out. And what I mean by that is, well, let's back up. Let me get this tip off first. And what you do is you take a lighter and make sure to rotate your rod. You don't want to have it on there for a long period of time. You just need enough heat for it to heat up the glue and to get it off. See how easy that was? It's not very much. And the reason you don't want to add a whole lot of heat is because this carbon composite or whatever the rod is made out of is actually put together by heat, and if you add more heat to it, you're going to destroy the epoxies that hold it together. So you know, that's something to look out for. Now on this one, this almost looks like the perfect tip for it, but as you can see, the rod blank itself is real skinny in comparison. This was the wrong tip for it. So what I want to do is clean this up a little bit, and that way I can get the excess glue off of it. And you can hear the rod, and you don't want to be gouging into it either, because that is your tip right there. But see, I got most of the glue off right there. And if you start to see the thread right here, don't do anything with that yet until you find the proper rod tip for this. Because as you can tell, this one was a very shallow tip, but most of the replacements are going to be twice the length. So let's go and wait on that, and we'll fix that last. Okay, so what I want to do is find the tip that I think is going to fit that one perfectly, which looks like that one might be it. See, this one looks like it's been opened already. And when you fit it on, you want it to fit nice and snug without a whole lot of play. See, this one, as I put it back on, well, it's still got a lot of glue in there, but you can see that it was a buildup of glue just to fill the gap between the rod and the guide. So I don't want to do that. I want the guide to fit nice and flush, or you know, almost snug in there. And as you can tell, this one's not fully seating. So what I want to do is that little piece of thread there, I'm going to peel away at it just enough to where I can get to about right here, so I can fully seat my guide on there. Obviously it's not going to come all the way to the tip, but I want to be able to fully seat it to where it starts to taper in. You see this taper point? The tip's going to come up to about right there. So that's what I want to go ahead and do on that. And let's see. There we go. Maybe I was missing a little bit, but here we go. So right here, I'm going to peel away at my thread if I can get a good grip on it. Oop, I guess not. Okay. Well, the piece of thread is sheared away, so what I want to do is I'm going to measure where I want to kind of get my knife to start. And all I'm going to do is just put a little pressure on it and rotate my rod back and forth, just to where I can cut through the epoxy and the thread. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Well, whoever put this epoxy on right here did a real good job, because it ain't coming off or anything. And what can help a little bit is add a little heat to it. It'll soften it up so you can get the blade in there and to pull away the thread and the epoxy. There we go. Peel that away. Make sure there's no thread there. Okay, it looks nice and clean. I want to go and cut this piece of this thread there. That way it doesn't keep undoing. Like I said, when you're doing this, you got to be very light. You don't want a heavy hand on this. The reason being, because if you gouge that rod tip, you can gouge it too far and it'll actually break it off. So you want to be very light when you're doing this. And so let's see my rod tip again. Oh yeah, it's fitting a lot better. And like I said, there's hardly any play into it, which is good. That's what I don't want. And I'll show you by the wrong kind of play. Obviously, it's a bigger tip. You see how much play I got in there? That's bad. You don't want that. All right. This one, put it on. See, it's shaking the rod. That means it's instantly, you know, there's not much gap, and that's what you want. So now that I've got that, I think I can go down just a hair more to about right there, so it can be fully seated. And that's where that, if you can find that thread again, will help you. Peel that away. How you doing? You have a good one. Alright, so I've taken it down just a hair more. Get my proper tip. Oh yeah. And see, that's right where it tells you, because look, now it's bottomed out. And I've peeled back just a little more than I needed to, but that's all right, because at the end of the day, you want your tip fully seated in there. So take a little bit at a time and then check it. Don't strip the whole top end of your wrap up here, because you may not need to. And so once I get it all together, I can clean those edges up and it'll look very nice. Okay. Now, the rod tip glue that we have is actually a very old glue. The original store that we had bought out years ago originally had a lot of this stuff stored away. And they came in big old foot-long sticks, and so we started doing is cutting them up in smaller pieces, because obviously the regular fisherman doesn't need a whole lot of glue, and there was no reason for me to sell them a whole lot of glue if they were going to use it once a year, twice a year, or once every 5 years. So with the smaller chunks, it was more affordable, because they don't sell this glue anymore. They sell other rod tip glue, and I'm sorry to say, but those rod tip glues that they sell on the market that you can buy with these packs and stuff like that, don't really work. They'll last you a few weeks or a few months, and then they'll start to deteriorate, and the rod tips will start to move. So this rod tip glue is actually very good, and I'm sorry to say I don't know the actual name of it. Maybe some old school shark fishermen that can see it and give us some more information on it would be pretty awesome. But like I said, I've got a good storage of it, but we sell a little bit of it to our customers. But on that, let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. So what you do is you'll take your lighter, and please be careful, because it's a hard rubber or glue, whatever it is, but as it starts to melt, it will drip, and if it gets on you, it will create a nice little burn, and you don't want that. And you notice I'm rotating my glue back and forth, and the reason for that is because I don't want to see how it's starting to drip. Okay, that means it's ready. And so I get good, nice sum on the rod tip, and then I'm gonna slip my guide over it nice and slow. And then what you do is you line it up, and what you do is you'll look down the guides one way to make sure it's sitting right in the middle, to where it ain't too far to the right or too far to the left. And then you pretty much leave it for a little bit, and you leave it for a little bit because right now it's still real soft. It's kind of like cheese. See what I'm saying? And you don't want it to get all over you while it's nice and hot right now. But once it sets, it'll be good to go. So while this one is setting, let's go and work on our next rod guide, or rod tip, and I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to heat it up a little bit. That one came off really easy. But you can see all the epoxy that's left on there. So, and that was still warm. That's why it's coming off real easily. Yeah, look at that. It's not hot enough to burn me, but it was still warm, which means I want to check my tip to make sure I didn't overheat it, which I know I didn't, but that is something you want to do. And wow, you can see somebody's already overheated it because it's real soft up here. They've already done that. So let me go ahead and clean that up a bit. Give me just a second. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just clean off that little bit of edge right there. And the reason for it is because I want my rod tip to fully sit into this rod to get the best action for it. Alright, now let's find the proper tip. Got a few that are already out. See, that one was real close, but it's not the one I'm looking for. See how it's starting to peel away the rod? You don't want that. Those two are too small. So I don't think I have any more silver. I'm gonna have to go with the black. And that's a little too big. It looks, that one looks almost right. Let's see if I can find one that's a little, that one's real close. Keep down on standby. Let's see what this one is. Actually, that might work. Let's see, clean this off a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of glue buildup. That's pretty close right there. Awesome. And as you can see, it already almost doesn't want to move. That's really a perfect fit right there. So there you go. That'll be our new tip for that one. But obviously I got to put some epoxy on it. Alright, so let's get it off. Warm up my glue. Watch it. Watch those hot strands. There we go. It looked like I was peeling some of the rod away, but what it was is some of the glue was already starting to solidify. And now that I got it on there, make sure it's nice and straight. You actually have a good, 30 seconds to a minute before it starts to solidify, before you can't move it anymore. And you'll be good. All right. So going back to my first one, see now that it's dry or cooled enough, it's actually almost brittle. So you can pull this away, and there you go. Did some epoxy get on there? Yeah, some of the glue got on that. So let's pull that away. And there you go. Nice rod tip replacement done right there. This one should be cool enough because this one didn't use as much as epoxy. You can tell it's some pretty tough glue. And the beautiful thing about this is, if you want, you can heat it up a little bit and reattach it. So that way you can use it next time. Watch out, you don't want to gum up your lighter as I have. But you can peel it away. And there you go. So now I got some glue for the next time I want to use it. And that is your rod tip replacements. So went from these broken ones that were smashed. Where's the other one at? Went from that to that. Thank you for watching, guys. Note on the giveaway, I didn't put a time limit on it. So what I'm gonna do, today is Tuesday, we'll go ahead and go with this drawing until Friday. So on the video that says the 2,500 subscriber video, that's the one you need to comment on there of which lures you'd like, or which rod combinations you would like, and or the trip. I mean, those are some pretty awesome gifts all the way around. And like I said, I'm doing this so that way I know everybody that's participating in the channel and watching our videos and giving us some positive feedback are all in it together, so we can raise this channel into something a lot more than what we're normally used to. And I get a lot of this feedback too, because a lot of the guys that do watch the channel come in and they're still kind of used to the other tackle shops where they're not taken seriously on their questions, you know what I mean? And a lot of times they reach out to social medias for help, and sometimes they catch a lot of answers that they're not needing, you know what I mean? So welcome to Team Hard Life. This is our channel, and we will always be willing to help out anybody that's willing to ask the questions. Can't help you if we don't know what you're looking for, but here it is. Here's the start. You have found the channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and please share the channel with all of those that you know are into fishing, wanting to get into fishing, been doing it for a long time, because like I said, there's a lot of knowledge and it's always changing, and we definitely are on the front lines with a shop that always runs into hundreds of new problems every day. So we're forever going to post up what's going on and how we fix it, and or how we learn to fix it. So, all right, guys, y'all have a good one. Thanks again.